All right.
I know.
All right, so I think it's almost on. Perfect.
Turned out to be
All right.
dedication to the march.
Okay, nice.
Beyond much. This much.
That's beautiful.
That's all.
I know exactly.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's all.
Wife was actually a sisters gathering up in the land.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam. Yeah, mashallah. That's great. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Well, the older one just came out from work. As he was walking in and walking out.
Mashallah.
Just coming out of work.
Awesome. So let's do this. So let me have Bismillah. Okay.
So like, okay, you made.
Alaikum assalam.
Oh, wow. That's from you, thank you.
Inshallah.
Oh,
Inshallah.
I wasn't sure the kitchen.
Inshallah.
But I'm like, if there's no one from that.
All right, we're going to begin. So let me have you, we'll take turns. If we can like somewhat sit together so that you can share the book.
Okay.
There's one book and Brother Abdul can sit here next to me, right? And we can share we can share the book. Inshallah. Yeah, is it three? You'll be in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been there like that. We can like that. You all can take turns. You can take turns reading, right? Because this section is a little bit long, inshallah. So, Bismillah. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. In the name of Allah, and may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions, and all those who follow him until the day of judgment. Alhamdulillah, we are in the last section of the book of purification. So the book of purification, in summary, let me see if I can get it correct. Number one is the types of water. Number two are the parts of water. Number three is the tanning of the skin of the animals. Number four, the utilization of utensils of gold and silver. Number five, the siwak. Number six, the pillars of wudu. Number seven, the sunnahs of wudu. Number eight, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that which the istinja, the process of purification after using the restroom. The next one is the etiquettes of using the restroom. If you're in the outside, what's the do's and don'ts. And then the next one is the actions that invalidate your wudu. And then afterwards is the obligation on who is obligated to do ghusl. And there's three occasions that are shared by men and three occasions that are specifically for women. And then we have the pillars of ghusl and the sunnah of ghusl. And then we have, I think, the wiping on the socks. Is that correct or no? The 17 recommended baths. And then we have, after that, we have the wiping of the socks, and then the time period of the wiping of the socks and what invalidates the wiping of the socks. And then afterwards you have tayammum, the purification with soil, and what are the obligatory parts of tayammum and what are the sunnahs of tayammum. And then afterwards, I think we have the dealing with filth, is it?
So obligatory actions of dry ablution, and we've said that, I think.
Yeah. And then the sunnah action, yeah. And then the next one? Invalidators, and then the next one? Splints, yeah. Yes. Yeah, cast. Usually they put it all together in the same chapter. And then afterwards is dealing with filth and impurities, right?
Types of filth, yeah.
Types of filth. And then we finished that, and now we're in the last section. And now we're in the last section of right, okay?
Yeah.
So we summarized the whole, usually you have a book, right? You have a book but because each subject is considered a subject in itself, in Arabic it's called kitab. So this is called the book of purification. Then you have Kitab al-Salah, the book of Salah. Then you have Kitab al-Zakat, the book of fasting. So these are like subjects independent in themselves, right? The complete book is called, for example, Fiqh al-Ibadah, the Fiqh of Ibadat, the Fiqh of worship, the jurisprudence, understanding worship. That's the complete book. You see that, the complete book, and then you have little books in it as well. It's similar to the definition of the word like biblios, like Bibles, which is like compilation of books. Okay. So in Arabic, you have the main book, and you have books with chapters, and then you have the sections. They're called either babs, and then you have also parts, which is called fasl like sections. So you have a sub chapter, and then you have sections. So it's just to understand that's how you know how to go through a book, and these terms come out like fasl. Okay, what does that mean? Fasl means to separate. So that means this is the separation between what was before and what's now. Okay, so let's read the Arabic first. قال المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى, the author of the book, Ahmed ibn Hussein ibn Ahmed al-Asbahani rahimahullah ta'ala, said, فصل ويخرج من الفرج ويخرج, so you can practice Arabic, ويخرج من الفرج ثلاثة دماء, دم الحيض والنفاس والاستحاضة. فالحيض هو الدم الخارج من فرج المرأة على سبيل الصحة من غير سبب الولادة، ولونه أسود محتدم اللذاع. والنفاس هو الدم الخارج عقب الولادة، والاستحاضة هو الدم الخارج في غير أيام الحيض والنفاس. وأقل حيض يوم وليلة، وأكثره 15 يوما، وغالبه 6 و7. وأقل النفاس لحظة، وأكثره 60 يوما، وغالبه 40 يوما. وأقل الطهر بين الحيضتين إذا نعم. وأقل الطهور بين الحيضتين 15 يوما. 15. بسم الله. أقل يومين خارج غير أيام الحيض والنفاس. وأقل يوم الليل أكثر 15 يوما، وغالبه 6 و7. وأقل النفاس لحظة، وأكثره 60 يوما، وغالبه 40 يوما. وأقل الطهر بين الحيضتين 15 يوما، ولا حد لأكثره. Right? وأقل الزمن إزاي؟ وأقل الزمن تحيض فيه المرأة، وأقل زمن تحيض فيه المرأة 9 سنين، وأقل الحمل 6 أشهر، وأكثر 4 سنين، وغالبه 9 أشهر. Okay, that's it. Right, that's the section. So let me have, guys, Sister Mariah read. So this section you could read until, so read until the postnatal bleeding, right? And then we'll have Sister Jessica read the next 3 sentences. And your name again, sister? I'm sorry. Miriam. Right. Then Miriam read the last 2, okay? So let's do that. Bismillah. Got 3 types of blood.
3 types of blood exit from the vagina: menstrual, postnatal, and irregular. Menstrual blood is blood that normally exits from the woman's vagina and without being caused by delivery. It is black in color, hot and pungent. Postnatal bleeding is the blood that exits after childbirth.
But and then Jessica, irregular bleeding.
Irregular bleeding, Istihadah, is blood that exits outside of the days of menstrual and postnatal bleeding.
duration for menstruation is 24 hours. The maximum.
Oh, I'm sorry, that Jessica has that one too. That's okay.
The minimum duration for menstruation is 24 hours. The maximum duration is 15 days. The average duration is 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
The next one too.
The next one, Mariam.
The maximum duration. The
Mhm.
sorry. The minimum duration for postnatal bleeding is a single instant, and the maximum is 60 days. The most average duration is 40 days.
Mhm.
The minimum duration of purity between two menstrual cycles is 15 days. It has no maximum limit. The minimum age at which a woman menstruates is 9 lunar years.
Mhm. Okay, and one more. Go ahead, Mariam. Finish that one. It's okay. Mariam, go ahead.
The
The min-
minimum duration for pregnancy is 6 months. The maximum duration is 4 years. The most common duration is 9 months.
Okay, so we will explain. So don't get, this is not like med school.
I know.
All right, this is not med school. This is called fiqh. Okay, so we will explain why are these numbers coming out, right? You're like, what, and also the most important part, we have two sources of law, which is the Quran and the Sunnah, right? And then you have those are proofs, and then you have the way of utilizing the proof, like bringing about whether these sources are used for proof or not. The scholars, they do istidlal, like I mentioned before, istidlal. So therefore, we're going to explain, inshallah ta'ala. So we read the meaning. Now we go to the explanation, inshallah. So يخرج من فرج ثلاثة دماء دم الحيض والنفاس والاستحاضة. فالحيض هو دم الخارج من فرج المرأة على سبيل السهو ولونه أسود من غير سبب الولادة. So this one, it was related on the authority of Bukhari radiallahu ta'ala. So this is the first section, right, that says the type of blood until it says until it says that the menstruation is when it defines the menstruation, and that it comes from the woman, of course, and that it's a natural thing. على سبيل الصحة, it's something that's a natural process, it's not unnatural. من غير سبب الولادة, and it's not due to childbirth, right? It's not من غير سبب الولادة. الولادة is childbirth. So Imam Bukhari Imam Bukhari and Muslim relate that Aisha, a lot of the explanation of these things about Haid, you will have Aisha or women companions explaining them, okay? Because they're the experts and they will explain to the other women companions, inshallah ta'ala. So she said, she radiallahu anha قالت said, خرجنا ولا نرى إلا الحج. We went out and we did not intend except Hajj. فلما كنا بصرف حتى, right? So when I was traveling, we were traveling, right? We were like getting close. I got my menstruation. فدخل علي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأنا أبكي. She said, and I was in a closed space, and the Prophet ﷺ entered, and he saw me, and she was young. She said, وأنا أبكي, and I was crying because she's gonna make Hajj, and all of a sudden the menstruation comes, right? So قال ما لك أنفستي. So here anafasti is not nifas. Anafasti means haid, right? So he said, what is with you? Did you get your menstruation? قلت نعم, yes I did. قال إن هذا أمر كتبه الله على بنات آدم. That's something that so see how positive he was. That's something that Allah prescribed for the daughters of Adam alayhi salam, right? فأقضي ما يقضي الحاج غير أن لا تطوفي بالبيت. Right? So he said, do everything that is done in Hajj except the tawaf, going around the Kaaba. Because going around the Kaaba is considered a prayer. That's you're praying when you're going around the Kaaba, is prayer. So that is, that's how he didn't just say you can't do anything, maybe next year, right? Hajj for some people is a journey of a lifetime, right? For all of us. So nowadays, like Hajj is like $10,000 to $12,000. So now you make it to Hajj. Imagine if you didn't have this, instruction. You, sister, make it to Hajj, and you're ready, and you invested that money, right? And then you arrive, and that happens. Imagine if they would have said, no, you can't enter the masjid. You see that? Masjid al-Haram. In it, you do Safa and Marwa. That's in the masjid. Okay? So he didn't say, just don't enter the masjid. He said, do everything else. Go to Safa and Marwa. Go to Arafat. Go to Muzdalifah. Do the Jamarat. Go to Mina. Sacrifice. All of these things. You could do all of this except Tawaf. See that? So imagine if the rule was, no, you can't even enter the masjid, right? Because there is some narration that said that the woman shouldn't just enter the masjid, but there is a difference between entering the masjid for a reason. Like, for example, you're doing Quran class, you're memorizing Quran, right? And now if you have to be on a regimen of daily review, and you're a sister that Allah decreed to have a prolonged menstruation, right? So now you're leaving the review for 7 to 10 days, right? And then all of a sudden you come back, and now you're recovered, you're ready to do what you have to make up whatever you need to make up, and you forgot the olds, and you're not ready to get new ayahs. That means that our sisters are never going to be able to memorize the Quran, which that's not the case, because you have even elderly sisters. Like there was a celebration in Morocco this week where they were celebrating those that memorized the Quran, and there was a sister that memorized it. She was in a cane. Okay. Right, so if there's a will, there's a way, and that comes from Allah. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِذِكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. If you really want it, Allah facilitates. Allah make easy the Quran to remember it for the one who wants to remember it. So this is just, I'm just bringing that up because even though this is not the subject, but it is, because there is sometimes written that the woman cannot enter the masjid when she's in her menses. Okay? But if it's for a class, if it's for Quran, imagine the sisters go to, in Egypt, in Azhar, there's a whole college just for women. It's called Kulliyat al-Banat. And they study Sharia with scholars, and they have the Azhar program for sisters. All right? And that has been there for many, many, many years, since the inception. So now what would the sisters do? Right? So that's what fiqh and Sharia is, and the objective of Allah is that when there's a hardship, there's a necessity to find ease. And that's why we study this stuff, to kind of find solutions to what? To make things easier for people to fulfill what they yearn to fulfill, right? So the next one is, and وَلَوْنُهُ أَسْوَدُ مُحْتَدِمُ لَذَّةٍ, and the color of it is dark, is hot, من احتدام النهار, and is dark and hot. لذة. Abu Dawood reported, and others, on Fatima ibn Abi Hubaysh, right? Fatima ibn Abi Hubaysh, أنها كانت تستحاض, that she had false menstruation, تستحاض, right? فقال لها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان دم الحيض فإنها دم أسود يعرف. If it's menstrual blood, then number one, this is as the understanding that it is this color in the beginning time of it, right? And but also some scholars say that it means it's just difficult, right? Right. And then he says, if it's this color, right, what is known to you, right, by فإذا كان ذلك فأمسك عن الصلاة. If it's that, then you hold off on salah. Okay, you hold off on salah. فإذا كان الآخر, and if it's other than that, then you make wudu when the time of prayer enters. You make wudu and you pray because it's false blood. Okay. But again, every woman, like Ya'raf, meaning Ya'raf, every woman knows their situation. So we can use a blanket statement that everyone experiences the same way, right? So therefore, that's what the Prophet ﷺ meant when he says, Aswadun yalhamdulillah. He said, yu'rafu, and then the one who explained it, Sheikh Mustafa al-Bukhari said, yu'rafuhu, ya'rifuhu, an-nisa' aadah. In the customary experience, they know it. Al-akhar alladhi laysat sifatuhu. So other, one second, bismillah. Other type of blood means al-akhar. It means that which you know that is not the common shade or color, right? That which you know, like. So, and this is, subhanAllah, is important, and sometimes it's important to have also the insight from sisters in order, but I always encourage brothers to learn it because brothers are going to be husbands and fathers of daughters and so on, and they have to have some knowledge to be support, to really support and assist instead of just leaving it to the sisters to just handle it. And then it says, when nifasu, so al-hayd is that النفاس هو الدم الخارج عقب الولادة. النفاس is that blood which comes after childbirth. There is another one which is during childbirth. That also has to be purified. But that's just at the moment, right? But then after childbirth, when the postnatal bleeding begins, that's عقب الولادة, after childbirth. That's the definition, simple. والاستحاضة, and the false menstruation. هو الدم الخارج, is the blood that exits في غير أيام الحيض والنفاس, outside of the days of menstruation and the days of postnatal bleeding. Now, I think it's the next section, right? أقل, right? أقل وأقل. Let me see if this is okay. There is one hadith. It was related on the authority of Bukhari and on the authority of Muslim rahimahullah, and Aisha radiallahu anha, who said, جاءت فاطمة بنت أبي حبيش, the same one, right? Fatima bint Abi Hubaysh رضي الله تعالى عنها إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقالت, she said, يا رسول الله إني امرأة أستحاض فلا أطهر. Now she said, I am a woman that gets her menstruation and I don't become pure. أفأدع الصلاة, should I abandon the salah? Should I just not pray? فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما ذلك عرق وليس بالحيض. That is the false blood and it is not حيض. فإذا أقبلت الحيض فاترك الصلاة. If you know that this is the time that you have the menstruation, then you stop prayer. You stop prayer. And you stop prayer. فإذا ذهب, if it goes away, then you take a shower. فإذا ذهب قدرها, if the time that each woman individually understand that my menstruation cycle is like this, and my menstruation cycle is like this, right? That's the qadr, right? It's not like it's just a set number, right? That's why he says فإذا ذهب قدرها فاغسلي, then shower عنك الدم, and also wash whatever blood remains, الدم وصلي, and pray. Okay, and pray. So typically similar to like tayammum. If you need to do the tayammum, the condition is that you can do tayammum after you search for water, or if it's too difficult to use the water, right? Then you made the effort and the time of prayer entered. Once the time of prayer entered and you exhausted the means, then you can make tayammum and purify yourself with soil. Let's say before the iqamah salah, you find water, then you gotta go make wudu. You don't have that excuse, right? So the tayammum, so here also this shower or this washing, like not shower, washing of the blood, that's why it's not a full shower. It's just washing off the blood. Is after the time of prayer entered, you wash it off. One cleanses oneself, and then one can pray, right? For that time period, right? So that's what it means. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now the time period. وأقل الحيض يوم وليلة وأكثره 15 يوما وغالبه 6 و7. So let me go ahead. Sister Sabrina, can you read that section? That one is where is it? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Is it page 18?
We stopped here.
No, hold on. Here. So we read this, right? Okay, so I didn't explain this. Good. So we did the time period. So let me continue with the 17 with the section that says, and the minimum duration of menstruation, the last 4 lines, right? So أقل الحيض يوم وليلة وأكثر 15 يوما وغالبه 6 و7, right? So the largest amount of menstruation, the Shafi madhab, right, أكثره is 15 days. That means that if you go 16, that 16 is Istihadah, is false blood, right? But that's what was understood. And then you have أكثر 15. It could be 1 day, يوم وليلة, 1 day or night, or 15 days the most. وغالبه, but majority of the time is 6 or 7, right? وأقل النفاس لحظة. The أقل النفاس is just like momentaneously, like just وأكثره 60 يوما, and the most 60 days. وغالبه, the postnatal bleeding, غالبه 40 يوما. Okay. وأقل الطهر بين الحيضتين 15 يوما. The least purity between the two menstruation, the same thing, 15 days. ولا حد لأكثر, and there's no more. There's no limit to how much more. وأقل الزمن تحيض فيه المرأة 9 سنين. The woman, the youngest is 9 years. And هذه تقادير في الحيض والنفاس والطهر مبناه على استقرار. This is important, right? So these numbers, and this is what I want to share with you. All of these numbers, that it's not like, this is not just proof that is like that. These time periods, these it changes from places to time, regions, right? A region's dietary intake, all of that changes, right? So here it says, مبناها is built upon al-istiqra. Al-istiqra is not in the text, don't worry about it. This is the explanation. So these deductions, هذه تقادير, these deductions about haid and nifas, right? And the purity is built upon istiqra. Istiqra is either induction or surveying. You survey the environment that you're in and see what's the commonality, what's the common reality in this environment. Istiqra. Istiqra. This is in fiqh also. There's books on the subject, on the principles of istiqra, the principles of surveying. Okay. تتبع الحوادث, and is followed by, right, contemporary findings. Okay, so it's not set to the findings of the old. وقد وجدت وقائع, and whatever is found in that contemporary circumstance, then we apply it for that circumstance. So let me see 1 second. We'll get into that, Sister Sabrina. You're ahead of the game. Sorry. That's a good question. MashaAllah. We're getting there. We're getting there, inshallah. We're getting there about reading the Quran, touching the Quran, and all of that. Those are good subjects. Okay? MashaAllah. All right. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Does anybody that wants to just double checking? Okay, perfect. All right. So then it says, وَمَا رَوَاهُ أَبُو دَاوُود وَغَيْرُهُ عن سليم and Salama radiallahu anha. The Abu Dawood reported in his collection of hadith and others that Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, قالت كانت النفساء تجلس على عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم 40 يوما محمولا على الغالب وهو لا ينفي الزيادة. So, meaning that she said, in the time of the Prophet, the woman will maintain in the postnatal period for 40 days, right? Building upon what was the common number, that the ghalib. Ghalib is like, for example, we pray with the adhan of Isha, of Maghrib is at this time. وغالبا الإقامة بعد 5 دقائق. So the iqama is most of the time 5 minutes after. So that's غالبا. Okay, so majority of the time. But it doesn't mean that that's set in stone. We can change and be like, let's do it 10 minutes later, right? So that's what it means, that there's no problem with that. وأقل الزمن تهيد so okay, بسم الله. وأقل الحمل 6 أشهر وأكثره 4 سنين وغالبه 9 أشهر. So here, the proof. So this is saying that the less amount of pregnancy is 6 months. and the highest length is 4 years, but the average is 9 months. So now the proof for the 6 months, there is an ayah in the Quran. I'll give you the number. Surat Al-Ahqaf. Surat Al-Ahqaf. Surat Al-Ahqaf is, I'll give you the number, Bismillah. Shura 42, Zukhr 43, Dukhan 44, Jathiyah 45, Ahqaf 46, chapter 46. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So it says the proof is وحمله وفصاله ثلاثون شهرا, and the pregnancy, in addition, the pregnancy and the nursing, fisaluhu is the nursing, right? Is 30 months. So how 30 months is 12 and 12, 24, right? And 6, right? So the how many years is recommended to nurse? 2 years. That's 24. So the least amount of pregnancy is 6 months. See that?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like this is, so meaning that, no, what I'm saying is that Allah mentions this in the Quran, that that the 30, He mentions the 30 months. The 30 months. ثلاثون شهرا. Right? So He added the pregnancy and the nursing.
Yep.
Right, together. So 6 months of pregnancy and 2 years of nursing. Right? So that's 6 and 24, 30. Right. Again, there is also, it's not like set in stone, right? It's not set in stone, right? وَمَعَ قَوْلُهُ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. There's another ayah that says, and the nursing is 2 years. See that? 2 years, that's 24, right? So, and this is Surah Luqman, verse 14. Luqman 14. فإذا كان مجموع الحمل والفصال 30 شهرا والفصال وحده عامين. So if it's talking about the pregnancy and nursing, then it's 30 months. If we're talking about nursing only, then it's 24 months, 2 years. وكان الحمل 6 أشهر. الدليل غالبه أكثر وأكثر الاستقراء. So the proof is that غالبه, the average is 9 months, right? That's usually the assumption, that is always going to be 9 months, and then they'll give you the date your child is going to be born. Your child is going to be born on this month, on this day, right? But it changes. They might be born a month before. So غالبه is not, as is known, 9 months. أكثره meaning أكثر, meaning what is mentioned about 4 years, right? So that is based on surveying as well. It was very strange, not strange, but very rare. But in the time of Imam Shafi'i, there was like an occasion of a sister that experienced that. But it's not ghalib, it's not common. So because it was just like that one case, it was taken into account that it did happen, right? But it doesn't mean that it goes, it's a proof that it happens and you're going to use it as a proof versus the scientific evidences, right? So that's what it mentions clearly. وأكثره الاستقراء. It was based on surveying the environment, surveying the occurrences. And then this is also explained in other locations. Then you have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. Now we got the next section, right? The next page 18. ويحرم بالحيض والنفاس ثمانية أشياء. And it is forbidden for those that are menstruating or postnatal bleeding. 8 things are forbidden. الصلاة والصوم وقراءة القرآن ومسح المصحف وحمله ودخول المسجد والطواف والوطء والاستمتاع حمله ودخول الطواف والوطء والاستمتاع بما بين سرتي وركبه. Okay, so that's what's 8 things forbidden for those that are menstruating. So let me have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let me have Brother Rashid, can you read this section in English? It's on page 18. You said you got the book.
Yeah, I do have the book.
Okay, good, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, awesome. So yeah, read the 8 things, inshallah. 8 things are unlawful.
Okay, 8 things are unlawful because of menstruation and postnatal bleeding. Prayer, fasting, reciting the Quran, touching and carrying the Quran, entering the mosque, circumambulating the Kaaba, intercourse, and seeking sexual enjoyment from the area between the woman's navel and knees.
Awesome. So I just want to before explaining that, I know Sister Nicholas, she is in the OBGYN, right? And she was stating that that this is very consistent with modern scientific understanding, right? And then even the medical definition of pregnancy. I'm just sharing that so I don't have to put you on the spot, Sister Nicholas. You get the reward, inshallah, right? The medical definition of pregnancy is viability. And the youngest age when a baby can survive out of the womb is about 24 weeks, which is 6 months also. Allah. So that's your scientific evidence. Inshallah. Barakallah fiqh. So let's go to the explanation, inshallah. In regards of salah, it's mentioned before, right? Forbidden for the person who has haid or postnatal. When Aisha got her menses and the Prophet said, don't go around the Kaaba. That's prayer, right? So that's the proof. So we don't need to repeat that. And on Safa 34 34 عشوائي. Okay. So it mentions, for example, it also mentions the حل لنا in regards of رواه البخاري ومسلم, in regards of the fasting, that Abi Sa'id radiallahu ta'ala anhu, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said about women, وقد سئل عن نقصان دينها. She was asked, you know how they use this hadith about that the woman is deficient, right? So they use that, and then it sparks the interest of those that want to utilize that statement to say, see, Islam looks down on women, right? So the Prophet ﷺ, so he was asked about that. So it's not something new. He was even asked about that. And so he mentions, أليس إذا حاضت لم تصلي ولم تصم, right? What it means about nuqsan. Nuqsan is not deficient, is not in her nature. is deficiency because Allah decreed to test her to have her cycle and postnatal bleeding, and these things prevent her from worshiping. So naturally, when you don't worship, you get a little bit weaker in regards of iman, right? Because you want to pray, you want to get, like these things happen. There's other things that you can do, but it's still not the same, right? So therefore, you feel like, what can I do? And that's why I know the questions come up. What can we do? So that's that's the explanation for that. It is not that women are deficient because of their biological nature, that women are deficient. Khalas, women are deficient. No, it means because of what they have to experience. That it's like somebody works out every day, but then the same thing with memorizing Quran, right? And like, how can they memorize Quran if they can't study it during their menses, right? And so on in school, or they can't review. How can they do it? How can they manage? So we will explain that afterwards, inshallah. So here the Prophet ﷺ explained that he explained with asking a question. Alaysa, isn't it the fact that if she has her menses, she can't pray and she can't fast? He just asked the question. That's all. He answered the question with a question. Okay. وتقضي الحائض النفساء الصوم ولا تقضي الصلاة. And also imagine, this is from the rahmah of Allah, if the women had to make up the prayers for every month, every menstruation. So don't complain about the deen, okay? Right? There is some mercy going your way, right? So that's what I meant. So they don't have to make up the salah, but they have to make up the fast. Imagine Ramadan. You have to make up the fast and the prayers, and still be happy. Right? So Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, rahimahullah, واللفظ له, and is attributed to them, is attributed to Muslim, عن معاذة قالت, a companion, may Allah be pleased with her, named Mu'adha, she said, سألت عائشة, I asked Aisha رضي الله تعالى عنها, فقلت ما بال الحائض تقضي الصوم ولا تقضي الصلاة. Why is it that the menstruating woman makes up the fast and doesn't make the salah? قالت كان يصيبنا ذلك مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Because that happened to us when we were with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. And he ordered us, what? نؤمر بقضاء صوم. He told us, he ordered us, Amr, he ordered us to make up the fast. ولا نؤمر بقضاء الصلاة. Simple. And he did not order us to make up the salah. Now it was related on, and now the next one is وقراءة القرآن, reading the Quran. It was related on the authority of Ibn Majah rahimahullah, عن Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, the son of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and his father. All right, so Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يقرأ الجنوب والحائض شيئا من القرآن. Right, that the woman should not read, and the person with major impurity, right, from, let's say, marital relations or menstruating, shouldn't read anything from the Quran. there is a difference between, like, for example, let's say you use verses of the Quran for protection, like Ayat al-Kursi, you can say it because you're using it as dua. Like ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار, you're using it as dua. Okay. Now, let's say, Brother Abdul Malik, lend me that book behind the yearbook, the Abdullah Yusuf Ali. Not move the book. Yeah, that one, the small one, the big one, the big one. I'm just joking. The brown one, the brown one, the brown one. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna show you something, right? This is so. Look at this Quran. Let me just look at this Quran. Not that page because it's bended. Right, this is. So now when you look, what language is predominant in this Quran?
English.
Right? Because it has like English and then it has commentary and all that, right? So what does that mean? You know what that means, according to scholars? That the books of tafsir, of explanation, like Ibn Kathir and others, you can read them because majority of the book is explanation of the Quran. All right. So it is not technically Quran by itself. So that's a way, like if you have an explanation, right, of the chapter, that's one way that can facilitate for you to read the book, right?
And you can like listen to.
You can listen to it. So that's a good way to review. We have technology. So you see, says Sister Mariah, you can ask a teacher, I'm sorry, sister, this time period, I'm not able to do my homework. Right? I can't do my homework. And sometimes, you know, a person, depends on the person, but because that's my vacation time from, you know, sometimes some teachers like, you did your best. And the next day they come with some questions and it's just like this load of pressure, like, like, so they keep us on our toes, which is a good thing. Alhamdulillah. Yes, inshallah.
So one of them is, so you're saying that the books that have mostly English, such as the tafsir and whatnot, women can touch them
Yeah.
and read from them,
Yeah.
both the Arabic and the English.
Technically, like because the thing is, look, the books of tafsir, when the scholars were explaining this ruling, they were talking about the Arabic books,
And it was all in Arabic anyway.
and it was all in Arabic. Okay, and the tafsir, they will take the group selection of verses, and then they will break it down in little pieces and put them within the paragraphs. So how you gonna read the explanation, right? You have to look at the verse and you have to read that verse. So therefore, yes, Sabrina.
I'm sorry. I just want to make it clear to myself. So we shouldn't recite it in Arabic. Is that correct?
You can recite if you're learning it, you can practice it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're learning Quran, right?
Yes.
Okay, so whatever you're learning, you can practice for learning, right? But not as like I'm just reading it because I want to read some Quran, right? Just for my spiritual well-being. No, if you're learning it, if you want to learn it, if you want to review, you need to review, because you need to keep that you keep on top of it so you don't forget. Then you know that's important. Like some people review at least 3 juz a day. When they have memorized the Quran, 3 to 5 juz a day. One of my teachers will finish the Quran every 5 days. Okay. So let's say the teacher is a sister and she has that regimen. Like, how will she do it? You understand? So, and that in order to keep it. So they're reviewing all year for yes to keep it, but also when it's their turn to lead in Ramadan, they're not cramping it up to the month before to polish up and perfect their recitation.
So by review, you mean like For the purposes of memorization.
Of keeping the memorization. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, the Quran goes away as fast as when you leave a camel untied. He said, you need to tie it. And that time is in the review.
So it's not if you are in the process of like you want to start memorizing a surah. It's only if you have memorized it.
No, not entire Quran. If it's a class. If it's a class and let's say that your teacher gave you 5 verses, right? And you're practicing them. Let's say you're a new Muslim and you just learned Al-Fatiha. And you still need to continue reviewing so that you can keep that Fatiha so when you stop menstruating, you can pray. Right? I'm going to give you another scenario. Okay? About reciting it. I'm going to read the hadith again. Oh no, I'm going to tell you something first and then I'll read the hadith. When a person is doing Hajj, pay attention, okay, everyone, okay? When a person is doing Hajj, the person, he goes around the Kaaba and between these 2 corners, you say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. He said this dua, right? Yeah, and this from the Quran. Then when you finish tawaf, so Aisha wasn't allowed to do this, right? When you finish tawaf, you go to Safa and Marwa. And when you're going to Safa and Marwa, you read the ayah of the Quran that says, Inna Safa wal Marwa min sha'airillah. Safa and Marwa is from the great symbols of Allah. So as you're walking, when you get into one of the hills, Inna Safa wal Marwa min sha'airillah, right? So that's usually done. When the Prophet ﷺ told Aisha in the hadith, don't do tawaf, but do everything else. He didn't say, and don't say Quran when you're doing sa'i. You see that? So one scholar, Sheikh Mustafa Al-Adawi, Hafidahullah, he's a scholar of hadith in Egypt. He was explaining that, he said, and that indicates that because he didn't say don't do it, that it's allowed to do it as a way of dua. You see that? Yeah,
That's true from what you said that like you still recite like du'as and like
yeah,
from the Quran.
and you can take there's books on all du'as from the Quran. You can do that. The intention, actions are judged by the intention. There's a book called like how many Rabbanas, right? Rabbana this, Rabbana that, right? So yes, Brother Hudayfa.
So just to be clear, are we saying that the women who are studying Quran and they're on their menses can continue to review by reading the Quran, or are we talking about from memory? Like, what are we talking about here?
Reading and memory both. I'll give you an example. There's
so they're going to be touching the Quran, right?
I'm going to give you the example. I'm coming to that.
No, but you know why I asked? You know why I asked? Because last week, remember, you told us the story of when the Prophet asked Aisha to I think to grab something, and she said, "Well, I'm on my menses," and he said, "Well, it's not in your hands, right?"
So that's the proof, right, to your question?
I want to confirm, yeah, because you gave us that last week.
Thank you. You relieved me of the burden. That was good. No, I'm gonna so look, so for example in the Muslim world in schools, like in Al-Azhar, they have a college called Kulliyat al-Banat, the college of women, right? Of the girls, of women. And this is like these women are going to become scholars. So what they do is, let me see if I found one and I'll let you know. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All right, got it. Maybe a bigger one, just because that was really small. You see this? You see this, Hudayfa?
Yes.
This is a jild. This is a cover. This is not Quran. So therefore, you can touch this. It's like a purse. It's like you see that?
Mm.
So they will put our brothers and sisters from, maybe we have someone left one of their Qur'ans around here, maybe not. They usually put a cloth cover on the Qur'an. See that? So they can carry it here and there. So that's one thing. Our sisters also were recommended to, when they're managing the Quran, to utilize gloves.
That's-
And now you have some gloves that have grip. You have the gloves that they sell in the pharmacies, like with copper, right? To make your hands feel good, and like they're like kind of like compression gloves, but they have this copper, and so it has a little bit of grip that can help you change the pages. That is not your hand. That is not part of you. The glove is touching the Quran. You're not. And some they will use like a pencil or a pen to kind of like, right? If there's a will, there's a way, and still staying within the permissibility. Now,
Question, hold on one second. What about from the phone, reading from the phone, the Arabic from the phone? That's not considered the Mus'haf, right?
that's a good one. Should I give you that? Should I give you? You're gonna make it difficult on people who they find. I'm gonna give you the answer. The phone, when you have Facebook, is not Mus'haf. When you have, that's for the youth, they say that's for old people. When they become older, they start getting Facebook. Anyways, right? Those that criticize us, that's not for us. It was just like, yeah. Anyways, so and then if you open Instagram, that's not Quran. Once you make the intention to read the Quran and you open the Quran app, then the phone is like naib of it becomes the Quran, like you're using it for that purpose. So you have to have that same respect as the Quran. Now, if you do, I'm not here trying to show you tricks. I'm here trying to like show you different ways of navigating. So, for example, if I open the Quran, right? See the Quran?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you see taht or no? What do you see taht? Tafsir.
At the bottom on the, yeah.
Tafsir. Yes, the fonts are smaller, but this has tafsir, explanation of the Quran. All right, so that changes the dynamics when you utilize it, right?
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah.
Yeah, well, think about it. So now there is an ayah about touching the Quran, right? There is the next one is Mas'ul Musaf, holding the Quran, right? Mas'ul Musaf is wiping the Quran, touching the Quran, right? Handling the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La yamassuhu illa al-mutahharun. That's the proof that it used that none touches it except the pure. Right? Except those that are purified, those that are pure. All right. Yes.
Before we move on, this goes back to just reciting the Quran in Arabic during that time. So if it is from your memory, you can only recite from your memory if it's for the purposes of, like a class or trying to keep up with what you have already learned, but you cannot like go into the Quran and just like read because you just
If
read,
it's
or
an
because you
if
want
it,
to
if
memorize
you
it.
have if you try, I'm sorry, if you're trying to memorize it, right, mashallah, and also if you're reviewing, or you kind of like you're trying to say it on your own, and from mind you're trying to like say this surah and you forgot an ayah, and you then, but the other thing is also what was I gonna say? So you are, I blanked out. Okay, so you're reciting the Quran. Another way, so it's for school, or there was another reason I was gonna say. Repeat again what you said. I'm sorry. So you can read it
So basically, can you only read it from your memory, or in the Mus'haf itself, if it's for the purposes of memorization or for a class, but you cannot read it if it's for you just want to read, or you
There's another reason. There could be more. I'm not saying that's the last reason. There's another reason. If similar to like fasting, let's say a person fasts the fast of Dawood, alayhi salam. What is the fast of Dawood, brother Rashid? What is the fast of Prophet Dawood, alayhi salam?
It slips my mind right now, and I don't remember.
Okay, let's see. Anybody can help, and let's see if anybody online is on their bike or they're on social media.
I think it was fasting every other day.
Good, mashallah, Aiden. Good job, barakallah fiqh.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's okay.
Yeah,
We all got
he
it.
brought it back. Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah. Teamwork. So, if a person is fasting every other day and the day of that fast lands on Friday, and the next day is Saturday, and there's a narration that you shouldn't isolate the Friday, then you should either do Thursday and Friday or Friday and Saturday. If the person is accustomed and is their habit to do it every other day, then they're allowed. So now you're in the habit of reviewing the Quran every single day, right? Then therefore it's allowed. Right? You're in the habit of reviewing, and it's not for a class. It's just like you're reviewing the section that you memorized. It's not for a class, right? It's just you want to just review, and you're in the habit, then that's allowed, right? Then now this one is about holding the Quran. That's I showed you about the cover. Like we have other covers that you could put on your own Quran, right? And so on. So the ayah that says La yamassuhu illa al-mutahharun, none touches it except the pure, right? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu La yamassa al-Quran illa tahir, none touches the Quran except the pure. That's what the Prophet said. All right. The ayah itself has double meaning with no contradiction. Like I said, double meaning with no contradiction. The human beings, are they always pure? All right. So who's always pure? The angels. The angels. So the angels are always pure, right? And who brought the Quran, as it said in Surah Al-Abasa? بِأَيْدٍ سَفَرَ كِرَامٍ بَرَرَةٍ. It is brought by the hands of Allah's messengers, the angels. They're honorable and obedient. Right? So this Quran that's being delivered from Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, from Allah to, it was descended in one night unto the lowest heaven, and then the angel Jibreel was given, it wasn't written, it was just transmitted, right? It was transmitted. So it also means the angels. So the Quran, there's an axiom, there's a principle in ulum al-Quran, as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he states in his book Muqaddima Usul al-Tafsir, the introduction to the foundational principles of tafsir, and he said al-Quran fihi ikhtilaf at-tana'u laysa ikhtilaf at-tadad. The Quran has variation in its meaning, but there's no contradiction. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. Right? When Allah says إلى عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. Allah didn't place no deficiency in the Quran. Right? So it has the both meanings. I'm just saying that's just so again, yes. It shouldn't be for us to use it as a green light to just be irresponsible and not care. Is that we should try our best to be in a state of purity, make wudu, and so on. But again, if you're trying to make an effort to grow and you're trying to review and you're trying, like for example, you have a Quran in your, it says it says also وحمله ومسح المصحف, touching the mushaf, right? وحمله means carrying it. So now I'm carrying it, right? All right. You're in the mall. You're by yourself because it's your anniversary and you're gonna get wifey something, right? And you got your Quran, you're on your spiritual game and your husband game, right? And you're going to buy something. All of a sudden, you have to use the restroom. Where are you gonna leave the Quran? Right? Right? Where are you gonna put the Quran? So you put it in the bag and you just go in. It's covered. If you leave it outside, it can land in the hand of somebody that does not care about it. They can just take, oh, Quran, let me just throw it in the garbage. And then you're responsible for what that person did. Because you understand? So that's why. So there's these exceptions. Like if you're going to school and you're using your Quran, and this is now you're going to school and you're going to do all these subjects and the Quran is in your bag, you're carrying it. Right? 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 And sometimes you have in countries in the Muslim world that majority of the people don't have that luxury of even having a bag. So they're carrying all their books. Right? So it's important to take all of these, like when you see it, then you become a little bit more flexible. Right? Right. So that's the reality. So then it says وَمَسُ الْمُصْحَفِ وَحَمْلُهُ. Now, if you have no excuse and yes, Brother Rashid.
Just quick question. You talking about a Musaf, which is all Arabic,
Yes.
not a
Regular Muslim or Arabic. No even the translation, alhamdulillah, is yes for those that don't know Arabic and they're trying to get close to Allah and they utilize it, as what access of the Quran they have, then they can honor it like that as well, right? Technically, the Quran is the Arabic Quran. But we don't want to just cancel that out. We can have that, that goodness of trying to honor whatever translation, interpretation of the Quran we have.
Okay, the reason why I asked, because at one point we was giving out the Qur'ans for the Furqan project, which is all English, and we giving it to, like I gave one to everybody in my family because I'm the only Muslim. But you said you're responsible for what they do with it.
No. That's different. That Quran
Okay.
is mostly in English, right? So
It's all English.
it's all English. So it's the translation.
Okay.
Is the meaning. Is the meaning, right? And that's one of the thing is like people want to sometimes, right? Alhamdulillah, we want to distribute Qurans. And sometimes, and I'm not saying Furqan, I'm saying mashallah, they have done a lot of great job, great work. I'm saying there's organizations that just want the numbers. This month we gave 500 Quran and 1,000 Qurans and right and so on. It shouldn't be a means of just distributing. Right? It should be like I want to interact with this person. And through that interaction, have that person trust me as an ambassador of Islam. And trust me to the point that it says, can I have your number in case I have any further questions?
Teach them how to handle it.
And then when they ask, when they knock on the door, hey, can I get a Quran? Sometimes a person, we don't have that interaction. They say, oh, Quran, I was looking for one. Can I have one? That's okay. Right? That you're here, you can have it because they asked for it. But we shouldn't be in that urgency to just like distribute and finish the box. Like there has to be like, gradual, foundational building and so on. I hope that's clear, right? That's clear. Now, even the Arabic, like for example, sometimes you have the Arabic and the English words, and the Furqan also has the Arabics on the side and the English. They also have that. So usually the Arabic is more because they try to explain one word, and it takes like a few words to explain one word in Arabic. So usually the words are more than the Arabic, right? So technically it's okay. Now, another proof about handling the Arabic, right? Or even the name of Allah. A non-Muslim handling something that says Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What do you guys think? You write a letter to a non-Muslim and you write Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What do you think? Anybody online or on site?
We don't do Bismillah when we do to non. I'm just saying, because at one point we were doing we was doing something for the Office of Faith-Based Initiative, and it was a government for nonprofit. They wouldn't even give you a grant if you had Bismillah on top.
Oh yeah,
So
no, you get
at
that.
that point, we got in the habit of taking it off as an organization, Moab. That's what we were doing.
Yes, yes. No, that's understood, right? Because you want to avoid anything that will block the process of something good that you're gonna do. That's okay. That's nothing. But I'm saying now, I asked about a letter, right? No, it's not wajib, but okay. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was in Medina, and they had the peace agreements for 10 years, he started sending letters to Heraclius and all these leaders. And in the letter, it says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And he wrote Bismillah Rahman Rahim. And he said, I am Muhammad, right? And then so he made da'wah, and he could have avoided it so that he wouldn't touch this paper with the name of Allah in Arabic. You understand? So I'm just saying that the Prophet did it, right? So it's just like understanding the vastness, but it's better not to, right? It's better to try to, because people have, sometimes ill intent. You don't know, right? So let me just finish this section, Bismillah, because we almost Maghrib time. All right, what dukhul al-masjid, entering the masjid. In khafat, so here, the author, rahimahullah ta'ala, the author, rahimahullah, Mustafa al-Bugha said, entering the masjid. If she fears that, it would, let's say, go on the masjid property. You understand? Like if you can't prevent it. So in that case, in khafat, wa illa فيحرم عليها المكث. So, and if that's the case, then yeah, it's forbidden on her to just stay and chill in the masjid, in the prayer hall. The masjid was considered the prayer hall, right? Yes, all of this is the masjid. But here we also have, our masjids are like a masjid community center. So you have a lobby, right? And then you have the social hall, and then you have the schools, and you have a gym. The companions didn't have a gym. The prayer hall was all the gym, everything. That was the whole thing, right? So therefore, if you're coming for a lecture and you want to follow that rule, you can sit outside and you can say, and don't be shy to ask Abdul Hadi or somebody, hey, or even the Imam, can I speak to Imam Daniel? Yes. Can we turn on the TV so that I can see the speaker as he giving the lecture?
Chairs, like in many of the prayer halls now, they have chairs, they have couches in the back. Would a woman be allowed to go there and sit there and do the smoke?
No, yeah. So the thing is, if there's no other option, like this, there's some masjid that sometimes they don't even have a big enough space for sisters, right? And so if they want to attend the class otherwise they're not going to attend the class, and maybe that masjid also doesn't have a TV, doesn't have all this, so basically the sisters don't have access, right? In that case, then it will be better for her to attend, right? If it's for a lecture, this is for a lecture. But in regards of just going to the masjid just to relax and just sit down, take a break from society and just sit down and just relax. And that's a different story, right? So entering it is not forbidden, even if it's just the musalla area. If you're crossing it, like before, so in some places, the masjid, like to go to a person's house, this is my house, and the masjid is big, and I will have to go around like this all the way to get to my house, but I'm tired. So you can go to this door and just and exit to that
So you
door.
can cross, but not
You
go.
can cross.
Okay.
You can cross.
Mhm.
See that? So that's allowed, and like going through. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا أهل المسجد للحائض ولا الجنب. So Aisha said that the masjid, that prayer space, is not allowed for the one that is in haid or junub. وهو محمول على ما ذكر يدل عليه ما رواه مسلم غيره. Aisha رضي الله عنها also said that قال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ناوليني الخمرة من المسجد فقلت إني حائض فقال إن حيدتك ليست في يدك. That's the hadith that Hudhayfa shared. Hudhayfa, can you translate it? Can you say the same one that you said about Aisha and the menstruation not being in her hands?
Oh, that was the hadith when the Prophet asked her to pass. Would he asked her to pass? It wasn't the Quran. It was some writing.
Khumra, something. It's khumra. I don't know. I don't know the meaning of it.
And he said she said to him, "I'm on my menses," and then he replied to her by saying, "Your menses is not in your hands."
Okay. So عند النسائي Maimuna again, the scholar understanding these proofs said in khafat, if she feared, right? وعن ميمونة رضي الله تعالى عنها قالت تقوم إهدانا بالخمرة إلى المسجد فتبستها وهي حائض. There's a definition. الخمرة خا ميم را تا خمرة like khimar. الخمرة is the prayer rug or al-hasir, right? Or another type of rug like the plastic one that is used for prayer. So that's right. So the Prophet was asking Aisha, give me the prayer rug. And she said, I'm menstruating. And he said, menstruation is not in your hand. So Maimuna said that we used to bring the prayer rugs to the masjid. That وَتَقُومُ إِهْدَانَا بِخُمْرَةٍ إِلَى الْمَسْجِد. We used to bring the prayer rug to the masjid. The next one is وَالتَّوَافِ. And that was mentioned before about when Aisha went and got her menses and the Prophet said, don't make tawaf, right? Okay. The next one is what al-watu is like it's like foreplay, right? It's like that intimate, right, connection with the spouse that might lead you to losing your purification. Okay. فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ. So وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ, meaning don't get close to it. But here is if you fear that comes, like you can hug them, you can hold their hand, you can. But some men don't have the bandwidth or the ability to control themselves, right? So if you fear, then don't come close, right? And here also means don't have marital relation with istimta'. Like don't satisfy yourself. Let's say you're not having marital relations, but that hugging and that kissing and it leads you to, satisfying your desire. Then that's forbidden. And also bima bayna surrati wa rukbati. Right? So for example, let's say can I satisfy myself with my wife when she's in her menses, right? Then the answer is the Prophet ﷺ said yes, except with what's between the navel and the knees, like that space, right? So other things can be done, right? So that's that. So there is some flexibility. And the last one we see that the Iqamah is going to be in 2 minutes, yeah. So if we can just come back to wrap this up, inshallah, or we can start. Let us do this. Let us just stop here, inshallah. I mean, I will re-record it, and for the, and then inshallah we can do this section. We can come back for this section, but I'm not going to do it on the live, inshallah. So if you brothers and sisters can just